Good evening, everyone. Welcome to everyone joining us today. My name is Albert Anamfio Checho. I'm the Masterclass coordinator for the Anijie Global Foundation. And for those new to us, the Anijie Global Foundation is a youth-led non-profit organization empowering women and youth through educational and leadership programs. Our mission is to drive positive community impact and contribute to global progress. Today's session, today's masterclass, is part of our Anijie Masterclass series, and it's a monthly online learning initiative bringing together industry leaders and emerging talents to shape the next generation of African leadership. And through these interactive sessions, we bridge the gap between aspiration and achievement, theory and practice, challenges and solution. Today, I'm very privileged, and I mean, we are all very privileged, and we are honored to have our very own founder of the Anijie Global Foundation here with us. And today we are coming to have a session on personal branding, and I implore all of us to get our notepads ready. Let's make some notes and let's invite our friends as well. You can share the link to a friend of yours you know would also be blessed by this session. Yes. Okay, so without wasting much time, I'd like to briefly introduce our speaker so that we move straight into it. Mrs. Maudlyn Akosua Awuku. She combines policy expertise, social entrepreneurship, and global leadership to advance gender equality and youth empowerment. She serves as the founder and CEO of Anijie Global Foundation, impacting over 100,000 beneficiaries across Ghana and the UK. She also champions diverse governance and political representation as an advocate with the 50-50 Parliament UK. She won the British Council Study UK Alumni Award for Social Action and named among the 100 most influential young Africans, also named among the 40 under 40 UK and 30 UK rising stars. She also featured commencement speaker. She is the architect of the Legit Blueprint framework, that is to lead, empower, grow, inspire. And this is a transformative methodology shaping the next generation of leaders. Ladies and gentlemen, um, without wasting much time, I would like to call on our very own founder of the Anijie Global Foundation, Mrs. Maudlyn Akosua Awuku, to take the floor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Albert, for that beautiful introduction. Hello, everybody. I wish we could turn on our cameras so we can see each other, but that's fine. It's good to see some of the legis leaders here. Hi, Yaira. Oh, lovely. I see you. So, Albert, do I have permission to share my screen?
Yes, please. I'm coming to transfer the hosts.
Yeah, thank you.
Make you the host so that you can.
Okay, can
Okay, I
you
think.
all see my screen, please?
Yes, please.
Okay. So, good evening, everybody, once again. Good to see, like I rightly mentioned, good to see some of you, some of known faces, especially the legit leaders. So today we're going to talk about personal branding. And before I commence, I'd like to say that someone in this room tonight is going to be offered an opportunity in the next 6 months, a job, a client, a collaboration, a speaking invitation. A moment, please. Yeah, a speaking invitation, not because of their qualification, not because of their degree, but because of what someone found when they Googled their name. And someone else watching this right now is also going to miss that same exact opportunity for the same reason. The difference between these two people is not talent. It is not connection. It is not luck. I would say it's personal branding. And that is exactly what we are going to fix today. So, whether you are navigating a career change, you are starting a business, trying to find your direction, or simply ready to take on to your next level, I want you to know this session is for you. My name is Maudlyn, as Albert mentioned, Maudlyn Akosua Awuku. I'm the founder and CEO of Anijie Global Foundation. Aside that, I'm a policy advisor and a consultant, and I'll also have a personal branding that have shaped around the Legit Blueprint framework. And in this session, we are going to do a lot of work. So if you don't have your notepads, your pens, please grab them. It's not just going to be a talk. By the end of the session, I believe we should have clearer sense of who you are, what you stand for, and how to communicate that with confidence and how to shape your personal brand. First, let me see who is in the room. Can you drop in the chat where you are joining from? Your country, your city, where are you joining from? I want to know. Okay. Can you please drop, or if you want, okay, Accra, great. Anybody else? I see quite a number on Kumasi, lovely. Kumasi, okay, good. Legon, lovely. Cape Coast, wow, that's great. So it's not just centered around one place, especially in Ghana. That is good. Now tell me, someone said Kolebu, Tamale, awesome. Cape Coast, Yendi, amazing. I want you to also tell me in one word how you are feeling tonight. How are you feeling? Generally, not necessarily about the session, but how are you feeling tonight or what you came into the session? I mean, generally, how are you feeling tonight? Just one word. You can shout it out, actually. Normal, okay. Happy. Overwhelmed. Oh, okay. Great. And the last one, someone said great, lovely. Stressed. Oh dear. Great, normal. Okay. And the last one in the chat, are you here for your career? Are you here for your business? Are you here for yourself? Why are you here generally? Anybody can shout it, actually. What are you here for? Someone said career. Someone said business. Okay. That's great. Okay. Well done to everybody. Someone said career prospects. Okay. Great. Great, great, great. Perfect. Because tonight covers literally everything you've spoken about for your career, for your business, for yourself, your personal growth, whatever brought you here. I believe that we are going to cover all these areas through the session tonight. So here's what we are covering. Seven sections, all building on each other. We start with what personal branding actually is, because most people usually have it wrong. Then your identity. We go on with your values, your unique value proposition, online presence, offline presence, and then the legit blueprints, the framework that I have built for my personal branding and leadership journey. We finish it off with some exercise if we have enough time, and then some questions and answers. So please stay with me as we go through this session. So I want to know, we have some images here. Can you tell us who you identified, and when you see this person, what comes to mind? What's that thing about them that comes to mind when you see them? Please raise your hand so I can call you, or I'll just call at random. I love calling at random. Francisca, are you seeing someone? Are you saying someone you know? Or, I mean, I see a lot
Yeah,
of
I'm
faces.
seeing four people I know.
Okay.
I see Oprah, I see you, I see
Okay.
Michelle Obama and Messi, and yeah, on top
Okay.
of your
So
careers,
take
these
take at
people.
least two and tell me when you see this person, what comes to mind about them?
Okay, so when I see Oprah, I think of how like her influential nature, like the way she speaks. She had this program, the kind of way she gets on board. Like she's on top of her career. Even aside that, she even did this thing where she in South Africa had a project there. She has been influential, and I also see you, and I
Okay.
see what you have been doing, even from what Albert described about you, the kind of achievements you have also achieved. Like you're on top of
All
your
right.
career. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Francisca. And it's good I push you on the spot. Chris Brianna. Chris
Yeah.
Brianna, just one person, and what comes to
One
mind?
person.
Yes,
Okay, so I see Chimamanda,
Chimamanda.
and
Great.
yeah, what comes to mind is feminism.
Feminism, awesome.
Yeah, how she's
Thank
been able to use her platform to advocate for um women's rights. Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Chris Brianna. Quinley, just one person.
Good evening, Honorable Maudlyn.
Okay.
All
What
these
comes to
people have
mind?
built, okay, so all these people have built names for themselves. I'll go for Lionel Messi. He's a renowned footballer, actually the greatest of all times. Thank
Okay.
you.
Some people would dispute that, but then okay, Ruhia, last person. I think I saw Benis, but I don't see her again. So Ruhia, are you here? Okay, I think her network is connecting. Benis,
Hi, please can you hear me?
hi. Okay, great. Ruhia, one
Okay, so
person and
I
what
see
comes to mind?
Malala.
Malala, lovely.
Yeah, I see Malala, yeah. Given me being a Muslim woman, where she's from, how she was shot, when I see her, I just see bravery, the way she
Hmm,
was able to pull through, and till today is still advocating for women empowerment, especially given how women are being treated in places like Iran and Afghanistan. She's one of the
great,
power horses when it comes to advocating for, Muslim women rights. Yeah.
great. Thank you so much. Benis, I think you'll be the last person. Tell us who you see and what comes to mind.
Okay, so good evening. I see Michelle Obama.
Mm-hmm. What comes to
Okay,
mind when you
so
see or hear
Michelle
Michelle
Obama,
Obama?
I feel so great because she's not just an ex first lady, but she was also a very influential person, not in a bad way, but she has made a good name for herself. And she's also imparting more lives like many women and children in advocacy. So that's what I see.
Great. Thank you all so much. I'm glad that we can identify all of these people, and it's because of how they have positioned themselves and how they have branded themselves in the society. And can we say the same thing about yourselves? When I see Francisca, can I know what Francisca stands for? So, as you people rightly mentioned, the first person, for those of us who don't know, this one is the first card is Chimamanda. She's an African voice, an intellectual, unapologetic author, and feminist icon. Someone mentioned that. Her brand is built on power, storytelling, and her absolute refusal to shrink herself for an audience. She has made being unapologetically African and intellectual, global, personal, like intellectual as her brand. That is how she has framed her brand. So that is why when you see Chimamanda, at least you know she's a feminist. You know what she stands for. Some people will know her from her books that she's written. Some people will know her from her unapologetic nature. And then we have Mercy, the second person, and someone mentions he's actually the goods. World Cup champion. His brand is built not on noise, but on quiet, consistent, breathtaking excellence. He never sought the spotlight, yet became one of the most, or has become one of the most recognized sportsmen on earth. So the work spoke for itself. We have Oprah Winfrey. Her brand is on empathy, an empire, a business mogul. She's been an actress, philanthropist, a producer. She's built an empire entirely from the scratch, from a difficult childhood to becoming one of the most powerful, recognizable personal brands in the world, if you all agree with me. she did not just open the doors, she's built new ones for herself and for other people. And then we have here Malala, the fourth one. Malala courage, advocacy, purpose activist for girls' education, and the youngest Nobel Peace Prize laureate. Someone mentioned how she's been able to turn her story. She survived an assassination attempt and turned her pain into a global movement. She had no platform. She built one from a near-death experience, which Ruhia spoke about. And then we have Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama's brand is built on grace, purpose, power first, former first lady of the United States. She's also a lawyer and then an author. She's trusted. She has a warm and powerful. She's warm and powerful entirely in her own right, not just aligned with her husband. She has her own brand. One would say, oh, because her husband was a president, but Michelle Obama has her own brand, which she's known for, and she's probably known for her favorite term, which goes like, "When they go low, we go high." I don't know if any of you know that. And then myself, legit blueprints that I've built for myself, women and youth leadership. So every single one of these people has a word that follows them into every room, okay? And they didn't just come up from space for people to know them. They went through a process. I mentioned some of them. They start from nothing to build that personal brand for themselves. And I think almost all of them, literally. So every single one of these people has a word that follows them. That word did not just happen by accident, it was built intentionally, consistently over time. And tonight, I believe that we are going to build yours. So before we proceed, I want to ask, when we say personal branding, what comes to mind? Is there anybody who wants to share when we talk about personal branding? You hear or you heard this session on personal branding, what really came to mind? I'm going to go ahead if you don't volunteer. There's no right or wrong answer. I just want to know what you are thinking, that's all. Abdul, are you there? Abdul Rashid. Okay. Abdul, are you speaking? Okay, I see Bennett. Bennett, you have the floor. What comes to mind when you hear personal branding?
Okay, so Miss Maudlyn,
Yeah.
personal branding, I see it to be an image that you create for yourself
Okay.
outside, even in your area, on your campus, like everywhere you go, how you want people to see you, how you want to be described as. That's personal branding. Thank you.
Yes, I like the fact you said how you want people to see you and how you want to be described. That's lovely. Magdalene, Mary Magdalene, you have the floor, Mary Magdalene. What is personal branding? What does it mean to you? Please unmute yourself if you are speaking. Okay, I think probably she raised her hand by mistake. Anybody else? Personal branding. When you hear personal branding, what comes to mind? Nadia, are you there? I see Nadia. Okay, great. She has a hand up already. Okay, good.
Hello.
Hi, Nadia.
I think personal branding is about creating an image for yourself that's just exclusive to you and by which people can differentiate you from other people in like a group.
Great. Thank you all so much. I believe that all of you have an idea from what I have heard so far. I don't see any hand up again, so I'll just move forward. So personal branding, I believe. Sorry, is anybody speaking?
Yes, I was having trouble unmuting myself.
Who is it, please?
Mary Magdalene.
Okay, all right. Tell us what personal branding is to you.
Okay, in my own understanding, I think personal branding is intentionally shaping yourself to based on your values, skills, personality, actions, and values that you bring. It also identifies who you are, what you do, etc. I think
Thank
that's
you so much. Wow. You all are so amazing. I like that you touched on the values and skills because it's one of the things I'm going to highlight today. So thank you all for that input. I see let me read the comments. Okay, someone said what people think of you when they hear your name. Great, 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 great. Okay, so personal branding to me, I would say it's a deliberate practice of defining your unique values, your skills, and your core beliefs. I believe it helps you stand out in career advancements, in business growth, and control your narrative. Ensures that when someone approaches you or searches you online, the impression they get is accurate and compelling. So I want to ask, how many of us here have a LinkedIn profile? I'm sure it will sound cliche, but not everybody has a LinkedIn profile. How many of us here have a LinkedIn? Just show by hands. Okay. Okay, those who don't have their hands up, I assume you don't have a LinkedIn profile. What about Instagram, Twitter, Facebook? I'm sure at least we all have one profile. Is there anybody here? Okay, you can lower your hands now. Is there anyone here who doesn't have any social media profile at all? You don't have any social media profile. Okay, I don't believe there is somebody, but if there is one here, please drop it in the chat. So those of you or those of us who have especially LinkedIn, I'm focusing on LinkedIn because LinkedIn is more professional, but then there are other social media platforms like Instagram. I'm very active on LinkedIn and Instagram. There's Twitter, there's Facebook and other TikTok and other social media platforms. So let's focus at least on LinkedIn because that's more like your digital CV, I would say. How many of you have actively, intentionally crafted every word on your LinkedIn profile to reflect exactly who you are and what you want to be known as? Has there anybody who has taken time to write how they want people to see them on their LinkedIn? Okay, Benes, you want to share? I wish I could, because this session is going to be uploaded on YouTube. I wouldn't search online. But then, Benes, can you tell us briefly when we go to your LinkedIn now, what will we see?
Okay, so when you go to my LinkedIn, first
Yeah.
of all, the name you see there is Benisa Sempa up here,
Okay.
a student of Unimark, French with business communication student, and I'm an advocate for language. So I deal in language advocacy. So I
Okay.
help young people to value the importance of languages. So that's how I describe on LinkedIn. So
That's very interesting. Well done, Benes. Thank you so much for sharing. Francisca, what do we find on your LinkedIn when we go on now?
Okay, so if you should look me up, you would see my name, my banner behind the profile pic.
Yeah.
Like ever since we had the session with Hannah and the whole digital footprint thing, I actually went there and took the time to change certain things. Early on, you had also said that our headline, we like most of us hadn't changed ever since we even joined this platform. So I went there, I defined what I was. I said I'm a natural science student. I'm also like a community literacy advocate, an Anijie Global, a part of the Anijie Global Foundation. And then if you go to my about section, for everything I'm a part of, I've put something there, and you
Okay.
see my post and you see my accomplishments and stuff. Yeah, basically.
Great, great, great. Well done, ladies. So that's it, really. Most of the time, we have platforms, and you go to people's platform and you don't find any information about them. Sometimes some people will just list maybe University of Ghana graduates or something. That is it. Some people don't even have a profile photo. They don't even have their bio. You have a whole section there to write everything about you. Literally, I'm not saying put your personal life out there, but then things you want to be noted for. You've not taken time to put that out there. And that gap between having a profile and owning your narrative, that's just where personal branding lives. So if you are not putting it out there, that means someone is doing that information for you. So someone can say anything they know about you because there isn't something they can verify. So what they've assumed or someone has said about you or what they see you and they just assume, oh, modeling is X and Y. They just leave it that way. But then you have the opportunity, for instance, on LinkedIn is very free. It's free to put your information out there, to create that narrative, to shape that narrative, own it how you want people to see you or where you want to get to, you know. Jeff Bezos said, your brand is what people say about you when you are not in the room. Most people have not thought about this. That means that someone else is defining their brand for them by default, not by design. If you are not shaping your brand, someone is shaping it for you. So personal branding is not a logo. It is your reputation, your story, the impression you leave in rooms, in conversation, in inboxes, whether you are there or not. You already have a personal brand. The question is, are you intentionally building it or you are letting it happen by accident? I want to show you some numbers. Yeah. 85% of jobs are filled through networking, not the job boards. I'll say that again. 85% of jobs are filled through networking, not job boards. 70% of employers Google candidates before they interview them. How many of us are aware of that? Before you apply for a fellowship program, before you apply for a grant, before you apply for whatever, that job, that opportunity, you want to be a speaker somewhere, before you apply for all those things, they Google you before. And most of you here are from Aniji's Legit Next Gen program. Most of you, we Googled you, or it's either what you said about yourself, and some of them we had to go and verify it to be sure that this person is exactly doing what they say. A strong LinkedIn profile makes you 40 times more likely to be headhunted. 1 in 3 people does not get a second meeting because of a weak online presence. So do you see how important online presence or your personal brand is? Personal branding or online presence is not about vanity. It's about an opportunity. Every time someone Googles your name and finds nothing compelling, that is a door that did not open. And it is out of the result of what you have done because they can't find any information. Some of you have applied to a lot of opportunities. And imagine you're a recruiter or you're a judge for some panel and you want to select 50 people, 100 people, and thousands of people have applied. Will you have time to go and reach out to everybody to read through everything? Most of them just see it and just go online to see who is this person. Okay, what they see is usually what they take. And that is how a lot of people are getting opportunities. And I believe after today's session, your story will change if you are not building your brand intentionally. I want to be real with you. When I started Anijie Global Foundation, I had no big budgets, no office or team, no massive social media following. Honestly, I still don't even have a lot of social media following. What I had was a vision, a sense of who I was and what I stood for. And trust me, it wasn't even about me being sure exactly what I wanted to do. I just had an idea, and that was my foundation. I showed up consistently in every room, on every platform. Some days nobody was watching. Some rooms said no, but I kept going, anchored in who I was. Then suddenly, slowly, things started shifting. Doors started opening. People started saying my name in rooms I had never walked into. We hear of Anijie, 100,000 beneficiaries, TEDx platforms I've been on, British Council Award, UN 50/50 Parliament. None of these were out of luck. It was clarity, it was consistency, owning my story, even when I was still writing it. I remember when I first delivered my TEDx, some lady reached out to me and said to me that she has been actually on 2 years training to get on a TEDx platform. There's actually a training people do and pay to get on TEDx. And I was surprised because I didn't know there was something like that. But then this is me where I was just sent an email and asked, do you want to speak on this TEDx platform? So I was curious. After I had that conversation, I went back and asked them that, What made you select me or reach out to me to say I should come and speak on this TEDx platform? Because for all I know, there's kind of caliber of people you bring in, not because I didn't think I deserve it, but because of what the lady said. It meant so much to me. When I reached out, they said the theme for that TEDx talk was become unstoppable. And they said your story resonates with our theme. So we believe that you're one of the best people to be on that platform. And in that moment, it synced with me. So I said, how did you know about my story? He said, I've read some online and we've seen some of your posts and the things that you've been doing. That is personal branding. That is how my online presence created the opportunity for me. Same with a couple of awards that I have won. They were all from searching me online because they had to do some checks on me. So this is what I want for every single one of us. Not about getting an award, but I'm talking about the real opportunities that comes with your online presence. So every strong personal brand is built on 3 pillars. Okay. I believe that when you miss one, the whole thing wobbles. You cannot build a brand if you do not know who you are. What do you value? Someone said, when I asked about what personal branding is, someone said about your values and your skills. What do you value? What problem do you exist to solve? Clarity does not mean that you have it all figured out. Again, when I started in Anijie, I did not just wake up one day with a perfect plan. I had a logo, I knew what I was doing. Even the team will tell you, till date, we are still figuring things out. So clarity is not a destination, it's a daily practice. But here's what I did know from the beginning. I knew my values. I knew the problem. I knew the problem. I knew my story. So these 3 things become the foundation of everything. I identified a gap young people not having platforms. Young people, I believe, that had a lot of potentials, but their potentials were not being tapped because probably the background they grew up from, or a family name they didn't have, or financial barriers, etc. My lived experiences. So I dwelled on that through my values and that story that I had. And then the second pillar, consistency. This is where most people fall apart. They show up brilliantly for 2 weeks. You start posting, you start showing up, you start showing people that this is me, new month, new year, new me. You show up and then you disappear again. Consistency means reliability. People can count on you to show up the same way everywhere. When I see you, Francisca, online now and I see you in person, are you the same person? Do you still maintain your values? Can I say that Francisca is the same person I met online? The thing she says she stands for, is it the same thing online when I meet her? Does she apply all of these values? And then the third pillar, visibility. You can have all the clarity and consistency in this world, but if the right people are not finding you, your brand is not working. Nobody is coming to find you in some corner. I remember I had a friend, I wouldn't say she's a friend, like more like a colleague, and she's actually attended one Ivy League school and then a Russell Group school. But then she asked, because I went to University of Salford and it's not a Russell Group school. So she said to me, I mean, at that point I got offended because she said, I went to all these top schools. Why are you getting all of these opportunities? At that point I got a bit offended, but then I mean, it's one of those things. So I sat her down and I said, what have you been doing? She started listing the things she's doing. I went through her LinkedIn and there was nothing there. And I said, how do you expect people to know this about you? And he said, well, I went to this school, so automatically it should open doors for me. Okay, why is it not opening the doors for you then? You see, so some of these things, people are waiting for someone. Sometimes you're waiting for someone to post you, to show about your work. But who knows you? Nobody knows you. So who are you waiting to post you? To tell the story about you, you have to write that story yourself. So there's clarity, there's consistency, visibility. I want you to write those 3 pillars down because it forms your strong personal brand. Everything we are going to do for the rest of this session builds on these 3. So let's start at the beginning with clarity. Clarity actually has 3 parts. It has your values, your problem, and then your story. So let me reframe that. Personal branding has three strong pillars: clarity, consistency, and then visibility. And under clarity, you have your values, your problem, your story. So we'll take that one after the other. Values, not the words you find on your company websites, not the ones that sound good in that interview. I mean, the real ones, the ones that govern your decision when nobody is watching, the ones that have cost you something. Because here's the truth: everyone has values, but most people have never stopped to name them. And if you cannot name them, then you cannot build that brand around it. Your brand is just your values made visible. That is it. So I think someone mentioned value. I've forgotten who that person is. But when we talk about values, what comes to mind when you hear value? And can you give me some examples of values? You can put that in the chat box, or you can raise your hand. When we talk about values, what comes to mind? Or some examples of values. Okay, Francisca.
To me, when I say value, it's what holds true to me. So like what I put, like the boundaries I set for myself towards the person or to this outside person, like what I hold true to me. So say things I tell myself I'll never say, like maybe I'll never use curse words. I know that that is something true to me. It's what I value the most, or what I even look for in my career path, or what I even look for in a man that I hope to marry in the future. What
Yeah,
holds true to me. Yeah.
great. So can you mention at least one value out of all these things you've said? Can you name it?
So okay.
Okay, that's
I don't know how
fine.
to put it in a proper
Yes, so
phrasing.
some people have actually listed some. Okay, I see Asante's hand up, Queenly. When we talk about values, what comes to mind? Thank you so much, Francisca, for that. Very, very insightful. Queenly,
Hello. Yes,
hi.
hello.
Yes,
To me, values are simply principles, principles that
principle.
governs our lives. They help us
Okay,
make decisions.
okay.
And some of the values are honesty,
Honesty, great.
yeah, honesty,
Is that your own
responsibility.
value or not? You're just mentioning some examples.
Okay, honest, I'm just mentioning, but
Okay,
honesty is part
great.
of my values. It's part of my values. As
Okay,
a person, you need to be very honest. Otherwise,
yes.
people will
So
lose
I
trust
need
in
you
you.
all to start writing down your values, at least three of them. Nadia, thank you so much, Queenly. Nadia, what comes to mind when you hear values? And I need you all to
For
write
me, I think
three. Yeah.
values are
Sorry?
for me, I think values are ideas that you hold on to that basically shape your lifestyle and also influence the decisions that you make. And an example is integrity. So basically being able to do the right thing even when no one is looking at you.
Great. Thank you all so much. I see some values in the chat box. Just a moment. Accountability, integrity, honesty, kindness, creativity. Someone said the values are principles or qualities that guide your decisions and behavior. Cynthia said integrity. Awesome. Thank you all so much. So I need you to write it down because we'll be working with these things that you'll be writing. List at least 3 to 5 values that you've identified. I think there's one more, transparency. Great, great, great. So values are the fundamental beliefs, which some of you said, principles or standards that guides a person's judgment, behavior, and life choices. They act as your internal compass, defining what is right, wrong, important, and desirable. So I asked some of you to mention your values and you mentioned them beautifully. Nayoko said diligence, Bennett says transparency, Christine said kindness, honesty, Ada, accountability, Ruhia, lovely. Well done, everybody. So please list um your values that you have mentioned. And those of you who couldn't put them in the chat box, please write them down because we'll be working with them. So what are I want to ask again two questions actually. What makes you furious when it's violated? Not mildly annoying, but it makes you so angry. What's that one thing when someone does it really gets on your nerves? Is there anybody that wants to share? Today is very
Yes,
interactive.
please. This is
Who is
Bernice.
there?
Okay, so I don't
Yeah.
like when my time is being tampered with.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
because
that
I'm a
value,
very timekeeper. Yes,
would say time conscious.
yes, time conscious.
Time conscious, great. Quinley, your hand is up. Is it still from the previous one? Someone
Please
said
come.
this. Okay, is your hand up?
No, please, from the
Okay,
previous one.
all right. Francisca said being lied to. Ada says being lied to, dishonesty. Okay, so that is something you don't like. Okay. Okay, Nadia's hand is down because she's posted it. And then just the second question, what makes you most proud when you live by it? What's that thing that makes you so proud when you do it or you see someone do it? That makes you so proud, like, wow. Anybody?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I feel very proud when I'm able to convince people about a particular language because I mostly speak
Convincing.
French. Yeah, I speak French. So
Convincing.
anywhere I found myself, whether at the event, a conference, I interact with people in French.
Okay. Who is speaking?
Yeah.
Sorry.
This is Bernice.
Bernice. Okay. Thank you so much,
Yes.
Bernice. Okay. Someone said competence. Chris Brianna, lovely. Francisca said when my hard working pays off. So that's hard work. Christine said helping others. That's service. Great. You people are on fire. I love it. I love it. So yes, those feelings, those are your values. Write them down. Those of you who contributed. Even if they are just words right now, those words are the first layer of your brand foundation. That is what you stand for. It is because most of the time we've not listed them, so we don't really know what is actually our values. So write them down right now before you miss them. So mine, I would say, are four words. I have a lot of them, but in four words: faith, integrity, equity, and service. Faith, because everything I do it before God. That keeps me honest when nobody is watching. It is why I will not take shortcuts to things. And then we have integrity because I believe that your reputation is the only currency that never depreciates. And then we have equity because I've seen what exclusion costs communities and I refuse to be neutral. I've seen how inequality is affecting people. And then I have service as one of my values as well because I was never building this for myself. I like to give back and making difference in the lives of people. So these four words, these are just four words, but behind each one of them, there is a decision, and I faith, there is a cost, that's integrity, and there's a commitment, my service. This is what a real value looks like, at least to me. And that is what has been shaping the work that I do or how I have built my brand. So when your brand is built on real values, people can feel it. People can see it. They cannot always explain why they trust you, but The reason is this: you are consistent with something very true to you, and people are drawn to the truth. So hold on to these values that you've listed. We'll come back to them. Values actually tell people who you are, okay? But your brand also needs to tell people what you are here to do. So earlier when I started, I mentioned that there are 3 pillars for your personal branding to build a strong personal brand. I mentioned clarity, consistency, and then visibility. I hope you are taking notes. And then under clarity, I mentioned to you that there are values, there are problems, and then there are stories. So you've just circled the values. We are now going to the problem. But your brand also needs to tell people what you are here to do. That is the problem. And that is what we are going to find in the next slide. I want you to free yourself from something right now, okay? There's this pressure, especially for young people, to have this grand, world-changing, should I say, headline grabbing mission, like save the planet, end poverty, transform a continent. And if your mission does not sound like that, then you feel like maybe it is not big enough. Do you feel that sometimes, that you hear of people doing things and you feel like your work is not good enough? Like you don't want to tell people what you are doing because you believe that you've not had that big platform. You're not doing so much enough to put it out there. I see Chris Viana's hand up. Okay, thumbs up. Okay, great. I want to dismantle that today. Okay, your problem does not need to impress at anyone. It needs to be real. It needs to be yours. It needs to be that thing that you cannot walk past without fixing it. Someone said they don't like being lied to. So if someone does that, it gets to you. That is a problem. That is a value you stand by. Dishonesty, you don't like it. So what are you doing towards that? How are you shaping your brand towards it to make sure that this dishonesty that you don't like, you are not being dishonest to other people? Let me share mine with you. My problem is this, okay? I've seen women, young people being locked out of leadership, not because of lack of ability, but because probably nobody held their hand, nobody introduced them, nobody opened that door, nobody gave them that platform, or nobody believed in them enough. That is a problem I identified. And I did not arrive at it through strategic planning exercise. I sat down and I was thinking deep. No, it arrived through frustration. I was seeing it. I was watching it. I could feel it myself. It was something I experienced around me and I identified that problem. So that problem chose me as much as I chose it. So your problem chooses you too. There are a lot of things happening around you, but it's because you've not identified that key value. You don't really see the problems around you that you shape your personal brand around it because you've seen it, you are not happy with it, or you like a particular thing. You're time conscious, you're a person of integrity. That is your personal brand. But because you've not listed it, you do not know. So maybe your problem is young people in the community who have no mentors. Maybe for you, it is about young people in your industry who are always in the room but are never the head of the table at the table. Maybe it could be young Africans whose stories are brilliant, are real, they are doing so well, but invisible in the mainstream. You've heard of people that you think, this person is doing so well, but nobody knows their name. Or maybe to you, it is graduates who leave the university with a degree and no confidence. None of these are small. None of these are ordinary. All of these are real. And every single one of them is worth building a life around it as your brand. It's just because you've not named it. It's just because you are looking at someone's brand and you think it is so huge that you want that same thing. So you are leaving yourself out. So I want you to go back to that values that you listed, okay? Add one sentence, the problem you exist to solve. Add just one sentence under the values that you've listed. What's that one thing you exist to solve? Probably I'll call somebody So if you are not taking notes, who do I see here? Christine, is there one sentence you can write under any of your values? I mean, if you don't have it yet, please feel free to let me know. And it doesn't need to be a perfect, we are just trying to curate our personal brand here, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Christine, are you there?
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Uh, Okay, so one thing that is a problem to me that resonates under one of my values is um it's actually two things, but it can be merged into one.
Yeah.
So people when people look down on others because of their background or whatever reason, and then the second is when people believe that um girls don't need to go to school or they don't need an education, and that um they deserve to stay at home, be in the kitchen, and not have the same education as any other person.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So was it in line with any of your values that you listed? Or it's just a problem that you want it solved?
Okay, so the first one that I mentioned was in line with my value kindness.
Nice.
Instead
Okay.
of looking down at people, what we can do is to just show kindness to people, because you never know what anyone is going through.
Okay. Thank you so much, Christine. Thank you so much. So yes, I like that you identified when people look down on others and you linked it to kindness as a value. And then when people believe girls don't deserve to go to school. So some value you can align it to. Personally, I think it aligns with what I actually do. And it could be under service, it could be under equity, depending on the value that you have. Um is there anyone who wants to share a problem under their value? Anybody else? Okay, I'll move on. Okay, Francisca. Okay, please
Okay,
go
so
ahead.
one of my values is equality, yeah. And
Equality.
given this day and age where, especially Ghana here, there's this thing about tribalism when
Yeah,
we are like, this tribe is better than the other, or this tribe is known for a certain thing, a certain activity compared to the other tribe. It
yeah,
pisses me off when anybody brings that thing up, like this stereotypical nonsense, yes.
yeah,
And how I know it's a big thing. It's not something I can solve at a go, but I feel like when I see somebody do that or talk about tribes in that manner, I'll be able to chip in and try my very best to clear or convince them of how flawed that ideology is. And given that we are all God's kids, God's creation, yeah, it
yeah.
pisses me off. So this is how I feel like I can solve it.
Okay,
Let's say.
great, 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 great. We are getting there. We are getting there. So now we have the values, we have the problem. They, I believe that the value is your what, and then your problem is the why. And then there is a story. The story is the how. So keep in mind, we are shaping your brand identity. Like I said, most of us do not know what our brand is about. But the moment you know your value, your problem, and then your story can give you an idea. Your brand may not necessarily be on one thing. Like I said earlier, I do a lot of things. But then when you mention women in youth leadership, that aligns with me. So that is what I am running with. So you have to, when the moment you identify at least one value, and then the problem you're seeking to solve, that is one thing you want to at least, if nobody knows anything about you, the moment they see you, they know that Francisca doesn't like inequality. She hates that. She stands for equality. She stands for giving people opportunities. Christine stands for kindness. She stands for giving people seats at the table. So we are getting there. So your story is the how, the human thread that connects them and makes people believe in you. So let's talk about the story right now. When was the last time you saw someone's set of credentials and it moved you? Was there a time you saw someone's credentials or you saw someone's CV and it made you feel something like, wow, you saw the CV, I was like, okay, I see Francisca nodding. Now, when was the last time someone's story stopped you? It made you lean in to say, oh, wow, this person went through this. This person is solving this problem. This person has this plan, you know. When was the last time you had something like that? You heard someone's story, they shared a story of what they are doing or they intend to do. Chris Brianna said, has thumbs up. So you see the difference. Information tells people what you have, but then story tells people who you are. And Bennett has raised her hand. Do you want to say anything, or you are just acknowledging Bennett?
Yes, I want to say something.
Okay.
So I have a senior who is a level 300 student, a translation student for that matter.
Yeah.
He's a multilingual. Like he
Okay.
doesn't speak just two languages. Oh my God, he speaks so many languages: Chinese, Portuguese, Russian, French, and he has a very nice accent.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I see him, I'm so amazed. And when it comes to country music, he sings so well. So anytime
Great.
that we vacate, he travels abroad. He works abroad. He works with the
Okay.
embassies. His flights are always booked. He just
Wow.
has to pack his bag and go. So whenever I see him, I'm always amazed. Yeah. So that's
Great. 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 Okay. What about a story? Is there anybody who had a story that made them lean in? Say, wow, this person's story, you know? Okay. So, the difference is information tells people what you've done, actually. Information will tell people what you've done, probably on your CV or something. And then story tells people who you are. So you have two papers in front of you. And then one person has listed, I have PhD in X and Y. I have masters in da da da. I have this and that and that and that. I am a professor in da 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 da. And then there's the other person who tells, I've been able to do X and Y with this PhD that I have, or with my masters. I've been able to solve a problem, or I've been able to identify the gaps. Whose story will be more compelling? Looking at the two papers, you would go in for that person that has explained it, that you can relate to, because it is telling you something. Okay, so story tells people who you are, and people do not invest in what you've done only, they invest in who you are. So let me share again. I like to use myself because I'm very, very practical. My story started from I grew up in a suburb of Accra, a place called Carnation. And where I grew up, there were lots of school dropouts, um, teenage pregnancy, people, young girls were only socializing to marrying. It's like everything you do, they tell you, oh, whatever be the case, you're just going to marry. So don't push yourself too much. And it really, something was just triggering me because I believe there was more to me, there was more to my friends, there was more that we can do rather than just putting us in a box. And it is because probably those people have not met people or do not have like some role models that can tell them it is possible. So they are used to their surroundings. Okay. I grew up watching women around me carry extraordinary weights and receive very little recognition they deserve. They are doing so well, but then nobody is seeing them. I've watched young people with fire in them and no platform to direct it. I felt the frustration of being in spaces where my presence was tolerated, but my voice was not fully welcomed. So I made a decision, not a grand one, not a cinematic one, a quiet, but I think it was a very stubborn decision at some point. I decided I would build what I wished I existed for me, that platform, because most of us here are in Ghana, so I'll use Ghana as an example. There are some spaces you can't get into because probably who you know or probably if you don't have money, there are certain rooms you can't enter. You need to know somebody to connect you, or even just an opportunity to learn, to relearn, to fail that platform, because you go to certain organizations and there's always some deadline. So there's no opportunity to even go and fail, go and learn, take your time to learn, hone your skills and all of that. So that decision became Anijie. It's became the legit blueprint framework that I came about. It became every stage that I stood on, every door I knocked on, I made sure that I shared that story. I made sure that I made that head to people to know this is what I am about. This is what I want to do. My story is not about achievements. I've received some accolades, but my story is not about my achievements. It's about what I refuse to accept and what I chose to build instead. This is a story that people can't follow. And most of you here can I testify to that. Most of you here are either from Anijie Global, or you've heard about it, or on one of our programs. This is something I want from all of us. Build that brand that somebody didn't just tell you to do it. You didn't see someone doing something and decided, oh, I like this person, so I want to do exactly what that person. But it's because you've understood yourself. You have your story, you know your values, you know your problems, you know the story, and you built that brand around it. And the moment you do that, it's like nobody can take it away from you because it makes you unique. Okay. So your brand has three parts: the before, the decision, and what I call the so that. The before, what you saw or felt that you could not ignore. For me, I saw my environment. I saw that girls were being brushed aside. Young people were not given the platform. I took a decision to start something. But before that, I started volunteering so I can know more. I can get the opportunity. I can get the skills to shape myself. So that's what. Why does your work matter? So that I can create change. So I can create that seat at the table for other young people. And because of these values, that equity that I believed in, that service, that faith I had in God, because even in the Bible, God said, give and it shall be given unto you. That shaped me and that became my personal brand. Okay. So your story doesn't need to be dramatic. It just look within you, look around you, that company you've always wanted to work with, that initiative you've always wanted to start, that brand or that person you've always admired, you want to be like so much. They started from somewhere, they understood what their story was, and then they decided to merge their before, took a decision, and then what they intend to solve. So it needs to be specifically to you. So, like I said, we will be doing the work as we go on. So I want you to write that your story in line with the before, your decision that you are taking or you intend to take, and then what you intend to do out of it. I don't know if someone would like to share that as well, but probably I see that we are going far behind time. So write that down. You can note that down and then add it to building your personal brand. And then you read that back to yourself in three sentences. That is your brand story. Rough, unpolished, but it's real. That's the most powerful thing I think that will produce today. Knowing your story, knowing your values, knowing the problem, and then your story. How are you shaping your story? Your before, the decision you've taken or you are taking, and then what you intend to do. So, a quick recap: we've discussed the value, we know the problem you exist to solve, you know the story that connects it. That is your foundation. That is everything we build from here. The consistency, the visibility, your brand to the world. It starts on what you've just written. And those of you who are not writing, please do so. I think at this point, I'll open if there's anybody who wants to share their story from what we've discussed so far, the before, the decision, and then what you intend to do or the outcome you intend to have. Is there anybody that would like to share? Okay, Ruhia, please go on.
Hi, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, please.
Okay, so with my before, I think I'll just read the sentence out and just follow along that way. So
Yeah.
before I started this work, I kept noticing that my childhood best friend who
When you
is
say this work, what work? Because
okay, all
yeah,
right. Okay. So before I started this, my work as a special educator working with deaf and hard of hearing learners, I
yeah,
kept seeing my best friend who was deaf struggle to communicate even to her own mother, and even during instances where she was sexually abused, she didn't understand her. So that was the constant thing I kept seeing, the communication barrier, which made it very
yeah,
difficult for people to even know what's going on with her. And then so I decided that I would learn sign language. That was my initial thoughts, to learn sign language so
yeah,
I could communicate with her better, then be like a bridge between her and then her family and other hearing people. Then when I
great,
got the opportunity to work at the school for the deaf, the first step was to learn the actual sign language so I could communicate with her. So why my work matters. From that moment, I realized that it was more than just learning the sign language so I could communicate with her better. I realized there were so many other girls I was seeing who were living the lives of Juliet. And this was like 20 years ago, and it's over 2 decades now, and there are still girls like her and boys like her who are still experiencing the communication barrier. So that's why every day I decided to show up to serve my community, be an advocate, and put together programs that would help them thrive even on their own, regardless of the communication barrier. Yeah, thank you.
great. Thank you so much, Ruhia. So do you see that that has given you some sort of clarity? Do you see your value, your problem, and then your story? It has given you some level of clarity. And I'm sure that you are working towards that line, which is shaping your personal brand, if I'm right.
Yes, definitely.
Great. Great. Thank you so much, Ruhia, for sharing. I see Angela. Hi, Angela. Hi, Angela.
Story is quite lengthy, but I'll just summarize because of time. Okay, so I have a brand, I have a skincare brand called Anijie Beauty. And before it came into existence, why it came into existence was in 2020, I made a bold decision to travel to Lebanon without anybody's knowledge, not parents,
Hmm.
not
Wow.
I just up and I was told I would get a job when I go there and I'll get paid 3,000 cedis. At that time, I had completed senior high school, and my dad was like, wait for a year for us to gather money, go look for a job. And those jobs were paying me 150 cedis then. And even
Mhm.
at that, I wasn't able to save them because I was using to buy personal stuff for myself and all of that.
Yeah.
So at the end of the month, I'll have nothing. And I did that for a year. And still, my dad would say, "Wait for another year." So I was like, "No, I have good grades." So when this man saw me, I was like, "I heard you had good grades, so why are you still home?" I told him the
Yeah.
problem, and he says he would help me. He will help me travel outside the country. I'll be paid 3,000 cedis. I did my calculations, and I was like, "Okay, I'll just work for a year or 18 months, and I'll come back and then go to school." So that is the like, so didn't tell my parents anything, no communication with any friend, just up and
Wow.
then just left because I got a passport for free, uh, a visa for free, everything was free. I just had to leave. And when I left, it wasn't like it was promised. I was sold out. I was sold as a slave and I
Wow.
was mistreated. I did all sorts of hard labor. And along the line, I found out I was pregnant there. So I took pregnancy from Ghana to Lebanon, and it was really, really hard. I faced a lot of challenges. And fast forward, I was able to come back through the
Oh.
government intervention because they didn't even want me to come back because they said they had bought me over. So through the government intervention, I was able to run from the house I was maltreated. I had to jump their walls to be able to get to the embassy. I was arrested 3 times, but I still didn't give up. I still had to try to jump walls till I got to the embassy and go back to Ghana. So when I got back, my skin was a mess. Like I was a mess myself emotionally. My skin was anyhow, like it was rough, hyperpigmentation. So I was told to, I used various products, it didn't help me. So I was told
Yeah.
to use shea butter by my grandmama. I was like, shea butter is going to make me dark. And then she said, no, it's just natural. So I did my research and found out that I could add fruits to my skincare. So I went for a skincare training. It was online. I paid for it because I couldn't even go out. I was shy to even go out. I was a mess. So I did the online training and then I was able to know how to mix certain ingredients to make skincare. So I added fruit. I started with pineapple with my skincare with shea butter and I started using it. And miraculously it cleared and that became a business because people were asking me how come. So that is my story and so that is my before. So I made a decision to go into skincare and aside skincare, I started to empower women because if I had had someone to speak to, a trusted person to speak to at that time, if I had a community to speak to, I wouldn't have made that decision. If I had people who would genuinely listen, because sometimes our parents would judge us. So if I had people who I would I could trust and speak to about my decision, they could have stopped me, or I could have found a community or a family in them. So that is why I've created an initiative called She Lives Beyond Limits, where we give women safe spaces to feel free and safe and talk about every issues they go through, so that they won't make life changing decisions with like without thinking it through very well. So that is my story.
Wow. Wow. First of all, Angela, thank you so much for sharing this story with us. Not everybody can share what you just shared with us. Thank you so much. And I would like to say you're very, very brave. What you've gone through. There was a movie I watched on Netflix, and the story is almost like that. And at this point, it's like it's playing, I can literally play what you just said, and it takes a very strong and bold person, courageous person to do what you did. And we are very proud of you that you didn't let that hold you back. So, as you heard, two stories,
Okay,
really
so
good stories. Yeah,
sorry. So I've
yeah,
shared that has become my personal brand on LinkedIn. I've shared my story on LinkedIn, and
yeah.
that has brought me the followers I have on LinkedIn. So I think I started a personal brand on LinkedIn already. Yes.
That's great. So yes, what I wanted
Yeah.
to touch on was two stories. Ruhia's story with her friend and the kind of abuse she was going through and finding her voice, and she identified that gap. Same with Angela. She also had her own lived experience and was able to build a brand around it. So you see how these two people did not throw away their stories. They did not throw away the problems, but then these are things that they are noted for. Personally, I've worked with Ruhia. I know her, and she actually, even when she came on Anijie's Legit program, she was able to convince her team that let's go to the school for the deaf to go and empower them because that's what she believes in. And she was able to win over her colleagues to execute a project on that. So it is because these people were able to identify these values, these problems, and put these stories together. So do you all get the correlation on how you build your brand on something? In this case, they have their unique stories. You will not find, even like I said, I've watched a movie that is almost like Angela's story she gave, but it's not the same thing. She has actually experienced it. It can never be the same thing as the movie, even if it's the same script. Right now, even if she gives them the script that this is what I went through, act the movie, it will not be exactly what she went through. And they will not narrate like the way she would narrate it. Same with Ruhia. She has that lived experience. She knows her friend personally. She's gone through with her. She went to a school to go and teach them. She had to learn. And that has become her personal brand. So most of the time, we are looking around trying to be somebody else. We've seen, I love Michelle Obama. I adore her, but I can never be Michelle Obama because Michelle Obama has her own journey, her stories, the values she holds dearly to herself that has gotten her where she is. And I can't have that. I can only learn one or two things from her to build my own personal brand. And that's what makes you unique. So you see people and you're like, wow, this person is outstanding. This person is unique. Look at Angela's story. Look at Ruhia's story. Where will you hear that same thing from? They may be alike, but it will not be that exact same thing. So those of you who are not writing these things, I really want you to like do that now because that will help you build that brand that you want to be noticed. Because some of us don't know what you want to be noted for. It's like you want to do everything. Today you've heard that there is a new conference happening. It's on international relations. You've seen people working in UN, so all of you want to go and study international relations because you want to be a diplomat. But you've not studied. Why do I want to be a diplomat? UN solves world problems. You can equally be working with NGOs. Not everybody can work with UN, but because you've seen, oh, maybe UN is nice, or you've seen recently I spoke to one lady and she said she wants to go and do law. And I said, why do you want to go and do? She said, I saw one person on social media and I like how she dresses, so I want to do law. And I said, you will go and waste your time because you don't know that person's story, why they went to go and do law, why they have shaped their brand around that. So that is one thing that I want people to take out of today's meeting. Have that clarity, and that clarity is through your values, your problems, and then your story. So you have your clarity now. The next question is, do you show up the very same way every time? That is consistency. So you are now moving from your clarity after you've known your values, your problem, your story. Then the second pillar that makes a strong personal brand is your consistency. What makes you, your unique value proposition. Okay, I have a simple formula which I use. For instance, I help who to achieve what through how and what's the outcome. For you, it could be you want to do X and Y in this company. Why do you want to work in that company? Why do you want to be noted as a gender advocate? Why do you want to be noted as a storyteller? Why do you want to be known as a philanthropist? Why do you want to be known as a tech guru? What do you intend to achieve with that? And how do you intend to go about it? What's the outcome you want out of it? Okay, so most of the time, because we don't know these things, we end up doing, then we get so overwhelmed and we find ourselves all over the place. I'm not saying it is wrong for you to start something and not find yourself and then go and start another thing. There's nothing wrong with that because most of the time that's how you learn and unlearn. But sometimes we can also save a lot of time when we understand ourselves better. Okay, when you are consistent with at least one thing. So I'll start with mine. I help young people and women to discover and deploy their leadership potential through practical programs and policy advocacy so that they can create lasting change in their communities. Every word is intentional. Who I serve, what I help them to achieve, how I do it, and the outcome. And remember, that didn't just come up. It came up from my background, my story, things I saw around me, sorry. I realized that young people were not given platform. Women were being relegated in the background. So I want to help women. I have found my voice and I'm still finding my voice. I'm still finding myself. And I want to help more young people, more women to what? To achieve what? To discover and deploy their leadership potentials. And then through how? through practical programs. That is why you hear of Anijie Global Foundation, the kind of programs that we are having. It is what addressing all of these things that I said I do or I want to be noted for through practical programs and policy advisor. Advocacy, when I started, I told you I'm into policy advocacy. I'm a policy advisor. And then, so what? What do I intend to achieve so that they can create lasting change in their communities? So, you see how these things work. If you don't have the systems in place, you see, when they ask you who you want to be noted for, even when you're introducing yourself, it becomes so hard because you are all over the place. You know what you want to do, but because you don't have like a structure in place, you be saying a lot. Like for 30 minutes, you still be explaining what you want to do. And who has that 30 minutes? Especially you've gone to pitch yourself or you've gone to an event and there's a one lifetime opportunity. You've met somebody. Sometimes the person will look unassuming. And then now you're taking time to explain, and I want to do this, and I want to just have a pitch. And that pitch is because you've identified what makes you you. What do you want to do? What do you want to achieve? What's that outcome you want? You want to work in, let's say, Microsoft. Why do you want to work in Microsoft? What's the aim? Who are you? Why do you want to work in Microsoft? And what do you want to achieve with that? How do you intend to do that and what outcome? Even when you go to an interview now for a job, any other opportunity, they'll ask you, why do you want this thing? How do you tell them? But if you don't know that, you end up beating about the bush and do not understand whatever you want to say. Okay, so like I said, every word that I have crafted in what I intend to do or what I do is very, very intentional. Who I serve, when what I help people to achieve, how I do it, and then the outcome. So, 3 questions to unlock yours. I want us to write them down now. Who do you serve? You can list them down. At first, when I started, I was still figuring things out. I used to do children, I used to do young people, I used to do women, elderly women. I was all over the place, but it took me a while. When I found this formula, I was able to narrow it down to say it's actually young people I want to work with. And young people narrows down to women first, and then young people. And that shows even with the work that I do. All organizations that I work with mainly are young people that I'm working with. Either it's a women-led organization or its aim is towards advancing women or it's for young people. Okay, so I want you to list now, who do you intend to serve? Be specific. Not everybody, at least, maximum at least 2 or 3, but not 5. The moment it is 5, that's when you start talking a lot. So list, what problem do you intend to solve? How different are you? Your experience, your story, your method. So sometimes you see someone who inspires you and you want to be like them, be forgetting that, like I said, I love Michelle Obama, I adore her, but then I can't be like her because I don't know. Probably Michelle Obama is one person that shares her journey a lot. She's unapologetic about it. But there are some people, they will never tell you their story. They'll tell you, oh, I started business with one Ghana cedis. They won't tell you the details, and you think, okay, I have one Ghana city. God, why am I not breaking? Or maybe you have 10,000 and you're asking, hey, why am I not making it? It is because you don't know their story. You don't know somebody went to sleep under a bridge, or Donald Trump will tell you his father gave him a small loan of $1 million. Can your father give you that small loan? And then you be comparing yourself, you want to be like Donald Trump, but you don't know the kind of journey, you don't know the kind of advantage the person had. Or for me, my disadvantage actually gave me that story. But some people, it's not always the negative. There's some people they actually had advantage that actually made their path quite easier. But then again, some people, because their story is not um a disadvantage story, we think that they are not stories, but they are actually stories. So don't assume that there's this popular Nigerian DJ. I don't want to mention her name. Her father is very rich, and anytime she does, some people attack her. Oh, you've never suffered like us, so you don't understand. But they don't know she's got her own challenges. The fact that she's from a privileged background doesn't mean she has her own challenges. Okay, so there are some people you be comparing your journeys to, but you don't know how or what it took them to get there. You don't know their values they are holding. You don't know the things they do behind closed doors, whether it's positive or negative. You only see the positive bits. And if you are not privy to that information, you start putting your background aside, your story aside, and want to be that person's brand when you have your own skill, your unique values, your unique stories, your unique problems that can help shape your personal brand. So start forming that sentence, write them down, whether it's in your head, but ideally I would want you to write them down because today's session, we are not leaving without building our personal brand. So I need you to hear this, okay? There are people in this world, brilliant, qualified, experienced, ready, who will never get the opportunity they deserve. I'll repeat that. There are people in this world, they are brilliant, they are qualified, they are experienced, they are ready, but will never get the opportunity they deserve. Not because they are not good enough, but because nobody knew they existed. I'm sure you have somebody you know that this person is so intelligent, this person is so skillful, but then nobody knows about them. There are some people that are in the media spaces or are getting a lot of opportunities, and you think, this person, I know someone who can do better, or even you yourself, you think you can know better, but nobody is because nobody knows you. And that is where visibility comes in. Visibility is not vanity. Visibility is the bridge between your potential and then the impact. If you have a solution and you hide it, the people who need it will never find it. That is not humility. That is a disservice to yourself. If you are waiting for someone to post about you to say, oh, I have this, I know Francisca, she can do X and Y, or let's say Angela. Angela has this story, what she's been through. Look at how impactful she's using her story to make that impact. And Angela is sitting on it and not telling anybody. I'm not saying that share things you're not comfortable with. Disclaimer. But then, if you believe that this thing can make a lot of difference for other people, why sit on it? Or you're waiting for TV3 or UTV to come and interview you before you post it. Who knows you? They only go and interview people they know. So if they don't know you, nobody is going to do that. So personally, from my awards, platforms, stages, panels, room for authorities that I've been in, none of them happened because someone discovered me. I put my name forward. I applied. I showed up in rooms I didn't feel ready. I'm still an Advent volunteer because I believe there are certain rooms. Imagine if you are going to work with I work with UN, so I'll use UN for instance. And most young people, the whole idea is I want to work with UN. Meanwhile, there are lots of NGOs that are doing the work that UN does. So imagine, for instance, you want to work with UN. UN has the role open, and they are going to select the people, and then let's say even 50 of you have applied. What will make the UN select you? It is probably because of your skills. But imagine everybody they've screened up to 100. That 100, everybody has PhD. Everybody has this and that. Maybe you at that time, you even have first degree, so you even make it to the top. And if they want to select, they have money to pay the people. They will select the best out of the best. People with experiences, probably over you that is now looking to start something, or that's you that hasn't gotten anywhere yet. So for me, I identify that there are lots of platforms that I needed, but I didn't qualify at that time. So I started volunteering, and that was the easiest way for me to get into certain spaces. And once I get there, I make sure that I am being seen, not desperately, but my work will speak for itself. I make sure that when I go, I share my story. I share why I am here, why I want to do X and Y. And by the time I leave, it's either I have learned something, I am moving on to the next, or they'll have to retain me. So none of this happened again, like I said, because someone discovered me. I had to show up when I didn't feel ready. Sometimes you have to send that email. You have to ask, can you put me forward for this? I can do this. Can I come and give my time to do X and Y? And then people also like, oh, okay, this person can actually do this. But imagine maybe I was in my room somewhere and I thought like, oh, they are not paying. I'm not saying that I always go and work for free. I'm sharing my journey. If you believe that working for free is not good for you, don't do it. But I'm just sharing my journey. So if probably I was staying in my room, I wasn't in these spaces, I believe there are lots of platforms I wouldn't have had by now. Okay. So I made that ask. I claimed that space before I was certain I belonged in it. Sometimes you get into places and you're like, can I do this thing? You're not so sure, but I go anyway. And when I go, I don't just go because I'm supposed to be there or I've seen this fancy place I want to work with or this person I believe that inspires me. I want to work. But when I go, I research and add value to those spaces that I want to be in or I find myself. So every single time, sometimes there's a voice that will say to you, I mean, who do you think you are? And for me, I will answer that voice with an action. I'm here because of X and Y. I want to make that difference. I want to learn. I want that platform. So visibility is not about arrogance. It's about deciding that what you carry is too important to be quiet. Some of you are waiting for someone to hand over a platform to you. You may never get that. And that is why you still be where you are and people will be rising. Sometimes you see a lot of people and they are being given some opportunities, and sometimes you think they just call them and handed over to them. Some people actually had to go and knock. They sent numerous emails. They had to do a lot of follow-up. That's why they get the opportunities. But you see them on LinkedIn. I'm happy to have been selected for this and that. I'm happy to then you're like, oh God, when will my story change? When will someone see me? But you are not putting in the work. I know some of you are thinking, I'm not ready yet. When I achieve more, then I'll put myself out there. But I'll say that I thought that too. But here's one thing that I've learned, okay? Visibility is not the reward you get after you build something. Visibility is part of how you build it, the opportunities that come because people know you exist, okay? The partnerships that you form because someone saw your posts or someone saw your work and like, she gets it. This is exactly what we've been looking for. Sometimes you'll be there and someone will reach out to you and say, I saw your work. Someone said they worked with you and they saw the work you did. Or someone saw the way you spoke. Or someone saw the presentation that you did. Or I saw this thing you posted online and I think it resonates with you. It resonates with me. Can we work? Sometimes you go, I did a lot of Model UN growing up. So before the first time I even went to the UN space, I knew what it was like. And sometimes um, during Model UN, you make a presentation, someone will draw in towards you. I like that presentation you did. I like that point you did. Can we build a caucus, like work together? And that is how it works. So I learned that thing very quickly that is what happens also in the real life. You need to put yourself out there for someone to identify you. There are some people, once again, that have privileges, so they don't need to do it. You can't say that when you go to Oprah's bio, Oprah does not post that I'm in a leadership program, so me too, I'm not going to do that. Are you Oprah? Oprah has built that name and everything she does makes headline. But you, Kwame Atta, who knows you? Banchiraba, my friend will say, nobody knows you. And you are going to compare yourself. Oh, Oprah doesn't post about Michelle Obama doesn't post about her. Oh, Maudlyn doesn't post about her. So me too, I'm there. I'm waiting to be identified. You'll be there forever. And you see people moving forward all the time. And you'll be there and saying, God, why? God, you've deserted me. God, you are not listening to my prayer. So you cannot afford to wait until you are ready. I believe that readiness is a myth and preparation is real. So show up, but when you show up, be prepared. Sometimes you put yourself forward for certain opportunities. You know that you don't qualify for it. But once you put the application through, start doing the research. Because you can't show up and you say, oh, I wasn't ready. I was just trying. No. Once you get into that space, before they call you, you put that presentation together. Recently, I was on a mentorship program and the team didn't get back to me on time. But the first time they reached out to me, the moment they reached out to me, I just put my slides together and everything that I wanted to do was just there. They got back to me last minute, and honestly, it was because it was my church. If it was somebody, I wouldn't have done it. But when they got back to me last minute on the day, they got back to me on Wednesday, and I was speaking on Friday. Imagine I hadn't put it together. Probably I would have gone to embarrass myself, or maybe I would have declined. And I also believe that you have something, people are there to listen, to impact into them. So why hide yourself? Or if you can make time for it. But probably I may not have had enough time. But because I knew, okay, they wanted me to go and speak at this program, I put that slide together, practiced it, and it was there waiting. So the moment the opportunity came, they gave me the timeline. I just went through it. I just did a presentation, and it was amazing. So sometimes you see people like now, you've been called to go and represent your organization, or you work with one organization, they'll call you and you are not practicing. Even me, this session, I had to go through over and over. And even still, like I'm still finding certain things. How much more not practicing at all? Some of you are going to do a presentation, you've not practiced, and you don't know that people are watching. Sometimes you see your colleagues and you think, oh, it's just my colleagues. But that your colleague, you don't know where that colleague can introduce you somewhere. That colleague will say, oh, I saw this Francisca girl, the way she was contributing. I think that we should add it to this platform. And you be then someone will call you, oh, Francisca, are you available for this? And you see people getting opportunities. And you will never understand because you are not working towards it. Okay. So yeah, like I said, when I started in Anijie, I wasn't prepared, but then I did the research. I volunteered with lots of organizations. I spoke to my supervisors, mentors, even though I knew that I wanted to do some charity work. I had to do some research, even though when I started, I didn't know what I was doing. But in the process, I was researching, I was talking to people about it, and people were advising me. So, what does visibility actually look like? Okay, a LinkedIn profile that tells your story, not just listing your jobs. When we started earlier, some of you mentioned the kind of things you have on your LinkedIn. Some of you, when we go to your LinkedIn, you've gone to post, I'm a graduate of KNUST, for instance, and that is it. When you went to KNUST, what did you do? Did you take any internship? Write it there. If you didn't, what courses did you study? You can even make a story around it in the sense that I'm sure everybody did a dissertation. What dissertation did you make? What did you learn out of that thesis you presented? Put that story under your LinkedIn, under your education. Don't just put your education there. When you go to my LinkedIn, for instance, I've listed when I was in KNUST, things that I did. I've listed it there. When I went to University of Suffolk, I've listed it there. Anywhere I work, I don't just list that I've worked or I was a volunteer here and that is it. That work you did as a volunteer, even if it's just a conference, what did you learn out of the conference? What was that thing that stood out? So whenever someone at, comes in contact with your profile, they can understand you better without you being there. And even now with the advent of AI, when someone searches your name, AI will gather all this information and tell that brand about you. But it is because we don't put this information there. So when you search for yourself, there is nothing you see. So your LinkedIn profile, sharing your work, your thinking, your journey. Some of you say, I don't have any experience. I've never done an internship. I've never worked anywhere. Okay, where do you want to get to? What are you thinking at that point? What do you want to be noted for? So you want to be noted as a gender expert, but you've never been an expert. So you can start sharing your thinking. I intend to do this in this gender space, and it has got me thinking. But if you're not thinking, how will you write it? And now with AI, anything you think about, just put it in AI. Tell AI what you want to do. Right? The moment you go and put in AI that make a post about gender experts, AI will just give you anything random. But you have to add in the work. This is what I am thinking about gender equality, and I want to make a post on LinkedIn. And AI, that means you've told AI what you want to do, and then AI will generate, and then you edit it, not copy the whole thing. No, You edit it, because some of you put and you see all the emojis and things, they see it as AI. It is so obvious it is AI because it's not your own words. Okay. So share your journey, your story, not just highlight. Don't wait for one big opportunity where you went to speak at Commonwealth event. So that is your biggest highlight and then you post it there. The smallest things, even being in a program like a workshop like this, a session like this, that's why when you come to Anijie Global Foundation, our legit program, you make it mandatory for our legit leaders to post about their work, because that is how you leave your digital footprint. That is where people can see your journey, things that you've been. People are even lying. You go to LinkedIn and people are lying. So you that you're actually doing the work, why are you not posting it? But you see someone say, I have been selected for, sorry, I'm fanning myself. It's very hot in UK today. Very, very hot. But you see people lying and say, I've been selected for, when they say that, you go to their page to go and verify. But you see it and you're like, oh, wow, Maudlyn is doing so well. It's the same thing when you post. So imagine you that is actually doing the work and you're not putting it there. Nobody knows. But the person who puts it, some people will lie, they will exaggerate the thing, you'll be inspired. And like, oh wow, this is amazing. This person is so inspiring. But you've led a whole leadership program back to back and you're not posting about it. But someone who puts that same program, some people will even do just one day, but they will exaggerate it and put it there. And when an opportunity comes, they'll go online, they are looking for youth leaders in leadership, and that person's name will pop up because AI will single them out. And you that has not posted anything, they can't see you and what you stand out for. So please, let's do better with regards to that. So even not just your highlights, apply for that fellowship, that speaking slot, even if you are not selected. I remember there was one program, World Youth Forum. I applied like 3 times. It was one of the biggest in Egypt. It's fully funded. I applied like 3 times. I was not selected. The fourth one, they selected me. And then the next year, they rather reached out to me that they want me there again. The third year, they wanted me to come and speak. You see how these opportunities come. Then I heard people saying, can you go through my application for me to know what to write? I said, you know how many times I've applied for these things? But sometimes you just do one and you expect that it will just come at once. Same with, I was on a board for a forum in Austria. Same thing, I applied 3 years back to back. The final year I was selected, it was COVID, so it had to be online. Then the next year, they wrote to me again personally to say, because you did online, we want you there in person. And since that time, for 3 years back to back, they were always inviting me in Austria every year for that program. And it wasn't just any small program. It was fully funded, meeting high-level profile people. And people will see me like, how does modeling get all of these opportunities? But they don't know you had to apply back to back and be rejected, and that opportunity came. But you only see the positive bits. And you are not willing to put in the work, but you want to rip that personal brand that person has built or the opportunity that that person has. So walk into that room, introduce yourself, not just the most important person. Sometimes we go to places and we are looking to speak to only the speakers. That is that person, that unassuming person in the room that you think they have nothing to offer you. Sometimes they are the people for your breakthrough. They are the people that will talk about you. Introduce yourself. Treat everybody like how you treat a president, because you don't know who is watching. You don't know who is standing by you. Write that article. Go on that panel. Say yes before you feel ready. But when you say yes, put in that effort. Okay. So I want to ask, where do you think that you should be visible right now that you are not? Is there anybody that thinks there's some place that they should be visible but they are not? Anybody? And can see we are far behind time. Okay, I'll go on then. I wanted to ask if something was stopping you, but it looks like nobody has that situation. So yes, the world does not automatically make space for you, okay? You have to claim it, not loudly, not desperately. Not desperately. I'm insisting on that. You don't need to be desperate. When you do the work, it will show. The work will speak for itself. with clarity about who you are, with consistency in how you show up, and with the courage to be visible, even before you feel ready. You have a story that matters. Don't throw that story away. You have a problem. Like Angela had her own personal story, Ruhia had from her friend. So it doesn't have to be a linear pathway. You see how both of them, they had different perspective, but then they had something that has shaped their personal brand. So for you, it may not be someone's story, maybe your company, maybe an organization, maybe the expertise that you want to build your brand about. So you have a story that matters, you have a problem you built to solve. The only question is, will you let people find you? Will you be consistent enough? Will you put that clarity in place where you put your values, your problem, your story? Will you be consistent? Will you be visible enough? Less people find you. How are they going to find you? Is you being intentional. So quick action we can take for today. When you Google yourself, you type your name. What comes up? Has anybody taken the time to Google themselves, type their full name to see what comes when they search for them? I'm sure before you go back to bed now, today, please take time to do it. Some of you see your LinkedIn will be the first thing that comes up. Now Instagram has merged with I think Google. So now some of your Instagram posts, and those of you who think that your Instagram is private or your TikTok is private, nobody will see you posting things that you think they are private. One thing you have to understand is when people search for you, all these things will come up, whether it's private or not. So if you don't want people to know something about you, don't put it on social media. I repeat, don't put it on, whether it is a private page, and sometimes even the ones that you deleted, they will still show up. I remember one time I ordered for some sunglasses on, it wasn't Temu, it was in UK. There's an app called Etsy. It's more like Shein and Temu and all those apps. So I ordered them. When the glasses came, it looked like original Gucci glasses. And I went to make a review and I said, wow, this is better. I won't even buy Gucci, it's better than the Gucci. And I thought I was just giving my honest review. The next thing, I was searching for myself. That same review came up. I said, what? So to me, I was like, I'm bringing someone's brand down because I'm promoting an inferior goods over somebody else's. So it made me very conscious of even the review when I'm giving a review, because that means those little things can even pop up. Imagine all that I have done. When my name is searched, some review I gave about some glasses from some platform that I was choosing over the original one. What are you trying to portray? I realized it was not in line with my personal brand. So I need to be careful of even reviews that I give. Probably if there are certain things, you keep it to yourself. You don't go and post it online, because even if you delete it, I went to delete that review, but I believe that at some point when you search about me, it will still come. So Google your name before you go to bed. Change that profile photo on your LinkedIn, especially. LinkedIn is a professional platform, even though now it's a bit relaxed, but it's all about how you want to be known. What do you want to be known for? If you want to be known for someone posting nudes, that is you. That is your personal brand. I have no problem with that. But if that's not what you want to be noted for, you can't say you're standing for women and then the next thing you are writing comments shaming women, body shaming women. All those things will be used against you. Even now, when you're going to apply for visas, they ask for your social media. You think you are making one comment like that, but it will show. So let me paint this picture like I was talking. You go and meet someone at an event and then you speak to them, and then later you go and search on their LinkedIn and it's not what they were preaching about at that event. Or you meet them on a panel and they're talking about how they are empowering young people, but you go and see their post and they are demeaning young people or they are demeaning women. They said they are women empowerment advocates, but then their comments are body shaming women, they are undermining women. What will you think about that person? You think, no, this is not a person that I met. It's the same way. If you are not showing up the same way people know you, in person and offline, that is what people will be thinking about you. So that disconnect, that gap between when someone is in the room and who they are online, that is a consistency problem. And it has cost people so many opportunities. Like I said, some people will go and post, oh, I'm for this and that, but you meet them in person and they are nowhere close to who they say they are. Sometimes people will not tell you, but they are judging you, and it will block some opportunities. You may not know. Some of them you may privy to know, some of them you may not know. So consistency is not about being boring. It's not about posting every day or having a perfect aesthetics. Consistency is about being recognizable. Whether someone meets you for the first time at a big platform or just online or LinkedIn or hears you speaking or hears, for instance, myself, hears me about Anijie, all these things I'm saying, and then you come and work in Anijie and you realize that she's not all these things that she said she's saying. What will you think about me? So you have to show up the same way, the same values, the same mission, the same modeling, I would say, different platforms, but different contexts, same call. For me, I had to decide what people would know me offline and in person, but then it has to be in line. You can't put your personal life out there, but then again your values should not, you can't say you're a kind person and then you start mistreating people when they meet you in person. It's not consistent with what you are saying you are. So for me, I'm trying to cut down on a lot of things because we are far behind time. So yeah, for me, I exist to open doors for women and young people who were never given a key. That shows up in how I speak, what I post, what I say yes to, and what I say no to. Everything either reinforces the story or it does not. Consistency is making sure that whatever you say is how you are being seen. So even for me now, I'm very even particular about people I even mentor because, and it's the same thing. I've spoken to a lot of people and now you start reaching out to people and they don't want to mentor you because they are not aligned with what you are portraying yourself. So nobody wants to be aligned with you because you can't say that this person is your mentor and you're living a different life outside them. I mean, there's room for improvements, but you have to make that effort. If I say I like Michelle Obama is my mentor, and then I'm living a different life, like a slave queen in quotes. Michelle Obama is not a slave queen. So why would I want to say she's my mentor and I'm living a different life? So I want you to do something uncomfortable. Picture your last three social media posts, your bio or how you've introduced yourself, the last time you walked into a room, and ask yourself honestly, do these things sound like the same person or do you sound differently? Do they tell a coherent story about you, who you are, and what you stand for? If the answer is no, I don't think that is a failure. That is your starting point. Most people have never been asked to look at themselves in that way. So from today, I believe that will change. You need to examine yourself. Consistency lives in the smallest things, how you dress. Are you dressed for rooms you want to be in or rooms you are already in? You can't dress like a slave queen when you want to work in corporate. If you go to your house and you want to dress the way you want to do, but whether you like it or not, people judge your appearance, how they see you, how you communicate. Are you someone they understand and they can remember? How you network, your body language, how you speak to people, the rooms you choose to enter. Visibility is very, very intentional. Where you find yourself, iron sharpens iron. You can't say you want to be X and then you find yourself in Y rooms. You need to be around with people that are aligned with where you want to or the brand that you want to associate with. So all of these, every single one of them, is building on your reputation or is quietly undermining them. So you did not have to build all of these things today. Pick one thing. What's that one thing that you think you can work on and then fix it? Is it for you? It could be your bio or rewriting your headline on LinkedIn. That should show what you want people to know you for, how you introduce yourself. Pick just at least one of them and then change them weekly to update all of these things that you want to work, because the world is watching. Like I say, when you search yourself, what are the things that comes up? And when people see you, are they in line? Is it in line with what you want them to say about you, what you stand for? And people decide whether to trust you or not with what they see, either in person or online. You can't be showing up twice. So I wanted to talk about the legit blueprints, but I think that I have spoken about them in during my presentation. It's something that is rooted in the work that we do with Anijie Global Foundation and myself as a with my personal brand. I started my journey in Ghana. I grew up in Ghana. I realized that my community where I grew up for was not favorable. I started to build my own organization through the platforms, through volunteering, and I realized that through that I began to lead. I began to find my leadership skills. I always say that most of the time we say we want to lead, we want to lead, we want the platform, but before you are sitting, okay, before you sit, you were standing, right? Before you sit, you stand. So I always say that before you have a seat at the table, they give you a platform. You need to stand for something. What are you passionate about? What's that thing that is going on around you that you want to um address, that you want it solved? That is how I started finding my leadership potentials. I started finding the gaps and addressing them through finding world problems or problems that are around me. And then I realized that I put all of these things while I was leading, I was empowering people. I started to um, grow through resilience. I started to learn and unlearn a lot of things, research, and I began to inspire even myself aside other people. And then through that together, we started transforming communities. So that is how I came up with the legit blueprints. Every single pillar of this framework is a personal branding principle that I've also identified. For instance, the lead, for instance, your brand signals how you lead before you say a word. So own your style. If it's leadership, if it's what you want to be noted for, own it. The E under the legits, empowering. A clear brand attracts the right people. So you cannot empower others if no one knows who you are. If no one knows you, then how do you empower other people? How do you make a difference with your brand? How do people know about your brand? And then the G, your brand grows as you grow. You can't know everything at the beginning. You can't change your brand at that instance. It goes through a process. So document your journey and build with trust and credibility. Be consistent with your values. You can't say my value is this and then you be working against your own value. That dilutes your brand. And then I inspire people, follow those they believe in. Visibility, consistency. Your brand needs to make you believable and you can't make it up. Some people will try, they try to be two-faced, but at a point in time, people will realize it. That's one thing. And that's what makes some people very authentic, because they are who they say, they show up the same way they say they are. Real, and then the T, real transformation starts with someone who knows the identity. You cannot transform what you've not understood. Okay. So your personal branding or your personal brand is your identity. They are not two separate things. So these are some of the things that has come out of my own brand. Currently, we out of Anijie Global Foundation, we have the Legit Next Gen Leadership Program. My Legit Blueprints or framework is not just taught in leadership programs, it's taught in schools, career programs, in corporate organizations, even in churches, in communities, in boardrooms, in cross-sector leadership. Um, I went to the UK to study my master's, and that same legit blueprint now is being used as case study assessment in my MSc project management class for the next people that are coming after me. So this is a brand that I have built, and it hasn't just benefited myself, it hasn't just benefited legit nation leaders, but then even my alma mater is being used. So you see the impacts with Anijie Global Foundation. I decided to build on my personal brand, have clarity, be consistent, and be visible. And then I lean towards my values, identify the problems and the story, and then what do we have? Over 100,000 beneficiaries. Our work cuts across mainly in other countries, but mainly in Ghana and the UK. So I'm not telling you all of this to impress you. No. I'm telling you this because it did not come from connections. For some of you are like, I don't know where to start from. I did not know the right people, and all, my brand didn't come out of connections, money, or luck. It came from knowing who I was, showing up as the person, the same person every day. That is the power of personal brand. And every one of you, I believe, has that power right now. So, 5 mistakes you save yourself. Trying to be everything to everyone. Diluted brands attract no one. You need to pick a lane. You can't be everything. You can't be we are standing for women, you're standing for boys, you're standing for elderly, you're standing for young people, you want to be a tech expert, you want to be a human resource. You can't be everything. You need to at least identify at least or at most three of them, and then you work towards others. As I mentioned, my work works around women and young people, but mainly as women, but I work with young people as well. I have climate, I have education, I have gender. They are all interlinked, but then my first priority is gender equality. But then it cuts across education, it cuts across climate. So you see, these are interlinked, but you have to be noted for something, what you stand for. Copying someone else's brand. You see this stamp. When you take your phone and you are doing now, it's even face ID. Your face can even twins, their face are not the same. Your thumbprints, it can never be the same as someone. So why would you want to copy somebody? Why would you want to be like somebody? You've seen someone's brand, you can take inspirations from it, but you can't be like that person. That's why some of us, we are struggling so hard because you've seen somebody build something and you want that same thing. But like I said, you don't know how they started, you don't know what is pushing them. So you realize that you'll be doing it and you'll be tired. But that person may, even if they are tired, because they know what they are arriving at, it is fueling them. But because you don't have anything you are leaning towards, you become tired, you become overwhelmed, posting once and disappearing. You want to be known for something, you want to be seen, you don't show up, you don't attend workshops, you don't attend conferences, you don't join programs, you don't apply for jobs, you don't like, what do you want to do now? You want to be known for something, but you're not making that effort. What do you want us to do for you? And no clear message. Clarity is, I believe, is kindness. Make it easy for people to understand you. Like I said, you can't say today you want to be in tech, tomorrow you want to be in entrepreneurship, tomorrow you want to be in engineering. I mean, there are times where you are finding yourself, but that is why a program like this is going on, for you to have clarity so that you don't waste your time. So have a clear message. What do you want to do? At least start from there. You don't waste your time doing a lot of things. And ignoring your offline reputation. In-person presence shapes your brand as much as you post. You've posted things online, they meet you in person, you're a different person. It says a whole lot about you. You can't be trusted. So if any of these 5 things made you uncomfortable, then that is where you need to start working on first. So I actually wanted us to do a session, but there is no time. So you can take a screenshot of this. After all that has been said in shaping your personal brand, you need to write down your 3 values, your top 3 strengths, and who your audience are. Then you draft your unique value proposition, knowing from what you listed in step 1. Use that to write your unique value proposition. Complete that formula that we spoke about. I help who to achieve what and through how. What outcome do you want to bring out of it? Write it down. Don't overthink it. Usually, like, it's the things you've been doing, like I say, your stories, the problems, what you intend to do. The moment you overthink, you realize that you want to do something extra, but it's not about being something extra. It is in your journey, your problems, the solutions, what you are doing, what you intend to do. Those are the things you can use to shape your personal brand. And then share it with somebody, read it aloud to yourself, share it to somebody, and then get feedback. is this thing I say I want to do you see it in me? And not just one person. Sometimes some people will not be genuine with you, but one or two people that you believe that you can trust them to give you genuine feedback. This thing that I say I want to be noted for, do you see that in me? This value that I say I used to be very quick-tempered, very, 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 very quick-tempered. It took me a lot to calm down, to have a lot of patience. And then now when I talk about patience, I've gone through the process, so I understand. And I got that through feedback. I didn't even know I was quick-tempered. I thought if you get me angry, that is it. I mean, you've made me annoyed. But there's so many ways that I could go about it. And that was affecting my personal brand, you know. So it made me work, feedbacks made me work on that. So I want to give you 5 things to hold on, 5 sentences I want you to remember long after tonight. Your brand already exists, okay? The question is whether you are shaping it intentionally. Everything we are doing. Some of you mentioned your values beautifully. You have a problem, you have a story. You just need clarity. You just need to be consistent. You just need to be visible. Clarity comes first. Know your values, your strength, who you serve, what you intend to achieve. Then consistency. Consistency builds trust. Show up the same way, online and offline. You don't show up today and then the next time you can't be found anywhere. Or you come and post and you are missing, you are gone. Nobody can hear. The next time they'll see you is like 1 year time or something. No. Even if you don't have anything to post, like I said, use AI a lot. AI is not for you to just go and copy and paste, but some of the things you are thinking about, you can put it in. I want to post about my work on LinkedIn, but I don't know what to say. You give that prompt to AI, and AI will direct you. But you don't just go and say, "Give me a caption for this," and that is the end. AI does not know you. It is what you tell them. And sometimes, imagine if you search yourself and there's nothing about you. You yourself, you don't know your value. So what are you going to tell AI? So that is where all these things we've learned comes to play. Once you have them, you tell AI, this is my values, and AI will shape you, you know. But I'm not saying go and rely entirely on AI. You are feeding AI what you have in mind, and then AI is just shaping it for you. Visibility is a strategy. Put yourself in the right rooms. You being here, for instance, is more than enough. You want to know more about your personal branding. Someone who isn't here doesn't know the things that you are learning right now, and that's a lot of difference. You become a better person. Fix yourself in the right rooms. If you want, Angela said about skincare. She started skincare. She can be attending workshops or speaking with people that have brands that are ahead of her, or with her experience that she's gone through, what she's been through and how she's shaping other people. She can be speaking to other women that have gone through it, and then probably people that are far ahead of her, or even people that are rising. She's now shaping them, you know, putting yourself in the right rooms. It creates a lot of opportunity for you. So you showing up from across the world, that is the visibility itself. Being online or offline, finding yourself in workshops that are aligned with what you want to do, conferencing, events, networking programs, or generally speaking to somebody, you know. If you speak to somebody, there are two things. It's either you get bad information or good information. And it depends on who you are speaking to. And that happens when you position yourself well. Your unique value proposition is your anchor. Return to that every single time you position. So I believe that you came into this room with your personal brand and you're leaving with tools to build it on purpose. Those of you who were involved, I'm sure that you can testify to that. So personal branding itself can feel like self-promotion. But I want to reframe that. Owning your brand is not arrogance, okay? It's a stewardship. It is taking responsibility for your gifts, your experiences, your story that only you carry, and making sure that that story serves purpose. Because every time you hide who you are, the person who needed exactly what you have goes without it. So the world does not need people playing small. It needs you. clear, visible, consistent, and bold. So build your brand, own your story, show up fully, intentionally, and unapologetically, and watch what happens. So tonight you showed up, you did the work, those of you who wrote your notes down, and that already puts you ahead. So go ahead, let's build something extraordinary. The next time I search you online, I want to see the amazing things that you are doing and how you've shaped your brand. Thank you all so much. I'm sure I've taken a lot of your time. Thank you, Albert. At this point, I'm open to questions or yes. Albert, are you there?
Yes, please, I'm here. I'm here. Thank you very much, our founder, for this very insightful and thought-provoking session. And we've learned a lot. We've learned a lot. So at this juncture, if you have any question, you can raise your hand or you can put it in the chat box. You can put it in the chat box. And also I've put the link to the feedback form in the chat box. Feedback help us improve for our subsequent sessions. So we implore everyone to make sure they fill the feedback form before the session ends. So if you have any question, any reflection, any breakthrough, you can either put it in the chat box or you can raise your hand.
Okay. If there is no question, I've got questions to ask. What is that moment tonight that surprised? What's that one thing that I said that surprised you the most? Or what is one thing that you are going to do differently? Or what do you think about your personal brand that you've been neglecting? So three questions actually. What's that one thing that surprised you most? What's that thing you're going to do differently? Or what's that personal brand area that you think you've been neglecting? Anybody wants to go? We're here. Yes. Hi.
Okay, so I think the first one, what stood out to me was when you said like putting your story out there isn't you bragging or you being boastful or having some form of pride. Sometimes there are certain things when I wanted to work on or even wanted to put out there in my mind, I'm like, this is a bit much to put out there. I wouldn't want people to feel a certain way. Because
Yeah.
I know how I feel when I see some kind of post from people, which, like you said, sometimes you never know the person could be lying, or it's not even what the person is putting it out for it to seem to be.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the things. And the second question, the personal branding.
Mm-hmm.
For me, is telling my story more. I think this thing you've said it to me a million times, and for some
Yeah.
reason I'm still stuck on trying to make it work. I think I'm still in between the limbo where I feel like I need to get to a certain point before I start telling my story. But then I think today that's the one of the things I'll start doing now is telling the story right from now. That way, eventually when I get there, I know
Yeah.
it's something that I've already picked up on. I think I forgot the last one, please.
So the last one is what is that part of personal brand that you've been neglecting?
Okay, being neglected is, once again telling my story.
Yeah.
I have a few times, but I haven't necessarily told like the actual story. It's just I think with the Anijie team, the actual story behind what I do, why I do what I do.
Yeah.
So yes, so the real story isn't out there. I've been trying to work on a document, but then yeah, I'll post the short versions of it. The beginnings. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be long. So that
Yeah.
was one of the things I've been neglecting for a long time, and I'm going to start working on. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ruhea, for sharing that. I think with the part where you feel like you are bragging, I used to have that a lot. Sometimes I even do, but I think that for me, it's even from my upbringing because it's like you are doing too much. People will think you are doing too much, but that is where the problem is because you're actually doing the work. Like I said, there are some people that will even lie, and we appreciate those people. We like them. We are so inspired about them. But you that are doing the work, you feel like, oh, people will think I'm too much. I'm doing, why you today you've come to post, I received this award. Tomorrow I was on this conference. I was on this platform. I've been selected. You are actually doing, unless of course, your personal beliefs do not allow that. Okay. And even that one, you need to question it in a sense that if it's like a personal life matter that can be used against you at some point, then you have to be careful. But if it's like an achievement, I don't see why you shouldn't post it. For me, there are a lot of things I don't post. Maybe I'll post them maybe 3 months time or something because I don't like people tracking my movement. Generally, I'm like that. So maybe I will not post in real time, but then at some point I would have to make a post about it. Like I have a website now, even though I think I'm yet to update a lot of things on my website, but I may not post it directly on my LinkedIn to make that announcement, but it will be sitting on my website that when you search for me, it will be in line with my work that I'm doing. So the right people that are looking for it will find it. Do you get it? So sometimes we maybe your background, your upbringing will make you feel like you are doing too much and you need to tone down or something. You feel like hey, this girl, every day you have something going on, but you're actually doing the work. And that is your personal brand, okay? If you don't post it, nobody knows what you're about. I had a friend that she in her company, she was due for a promotion and she wasn't given the promotion. They brought in an external person that was selected, and she was so angry. She was so angry. She was crying. And I said to her, this person that was selected over you, what's her name? Give me her name. Let me go and search for her. And then when I went to this person's LinkedIn profile, I was so impressed. Like, even me, I told my friend that if I was on that panel, I would have chosen her over my friend. And I said, your company, what do you do at your company? She started listing a lot of things that she's doing. I said, wow, even me as your friend, I didn't even know you can do all of those things. And in her case, she wasn't even lucky because the people that came in were external recruiters. It wasn't even people in her company that could speak or vouch for her. So she now had to train this new person that had come, was given this position higher than her, and she was training this new. You see how frustrating that can be. But imagine if she had put her work probably out there. I'm not saying put all your company's business out there, but if you do things, research or things, I don't think these are things, unless they are hidden secrets from your company. But if these are impactful work that you've done, your presentations and things, post a picture. Sometimes you may not have a picture, but you can make a post about it. And you don't need to give too much details, but it's just about telling what you've done so people can have an idea of what you are doing. When they go on your profile, they can see, oh, this person can do X and Y. But if it's not there, nobody knows about it. And you'll be there and other people will be getting opportunities. And I've seen a lot of people that lie, they exaggerate. Some of them, I know them, they are lying. But nobody's going to go and verify. If modeling posts now, nobody's going to say, unless someone is very shady and very inquisitive and will go and call the company to say, is it true that modeling did it? But how many of us do it? I sit on Princess Diana's awards judging panel. And normally during the awards, there are lots of people that have come in. They've already screened them, they've given them to you. And I remembered at that point, it hit me that you are so overwhelmed. You've seen a lot, like they are so outstanding. Like I was relegated to Asia region, and these people are doing so well. They are younger, 16-year-olds, 14-year-olds. They are doing so well. So then at that point, you're in a fix. You don't know who to select. Then we go online to search, okay, this person said this and now maybe they are lying. So let's go and see if truly this is what, and that's how we were able to finalize on the people. So maybe we didn't select some people, not because they were not doing it, but because we didn't see it. There was no evidence to hold them accountable to it. That maybe if somebody will come later and come and say, oh, this person didn't deserve, you chose the wrong person, you can point them back to say, we saw this online. This is what the person said. So if the person has nothing to go back to, then they may not choose you. And that's how we miss out on a lot of opportunities. Thank you, Ruhia. At this point, Albert, I think you should take over. I don't know if there's any other question, but thank you all so much for listening and for your contribution. You've been very, very good people and very, very contribute. Was it contributor? Yes, your contributions were very valuable. Sometimes you can run a session and you hear that the speaker is asking a question, nobody is answering. It can feel very awkward, but you guys didn't sleep on me. So well done, everybody. And I pray that we'll be able to apply these things that we've learned. And I look forward to Googling all of you and seeing the amazing things that you are doing. All the best. Thank you, Albert. Please take over.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that insightful session. And I believe we've all been reminded that personal branding is not about pretending to be someone else. It's actively, communicating who we are, the value we bring, and the impact we want to make. And my takeaways from this session, and one thing that stood out for me mainly is that personal branding is built on clarity, is built on consistency, and is built on visibility. If we don't know who we are, if we don't consistently show up, and if the right people cannot find us, we may miss out on opportunities that are meant for us. And I also appreciate the emphasis on values and this networking. Yes, networking, and the fact that we need to actively be present online through through LinkedIn and other social media platforms. And yes, these are just a few of my takeaways from the session. For those who couldn't join on time, the session was recorded. We'll make sure we upload it on YouTube as soon as possible so that we get access to that. I mean, if you joined, you can also re-listen. There may be some things you thought you heard, but re-listening will bring you new insights. Yes, thank you very much, Mrs. Maudlyn, for that powerful session. And our next masterclass is scheduled for the last Wednesday of July. So our masterclass sessions are always scheduled, let me not say always, are mostly scheduled for the last Wednesday of the month. If need be for us to change it to other days, would make sure we make you aware of that. To stay updated on upcoming events and masterclass, we are all advised, and I implore you all to follow Anijie Global Foundation on Instagram, on X, on YouTube, and LinkedIn, and other social media platforms you can find at Anijie_Global_Foundation. This concludes our session today. And before I leave, the feedback is in the comment section. Only 3 of us have failed. Only 3. Kindly make sure you feel okay. It's even 2. It's just 2 of us, and I think at a point we were close to 20 on the course. So let's make sure we all fill the feedback form, so that we know how the session went for you, and if need be for us to effect some changes in our subsequent masterclass sessions, we would do that for you. Thank you very much once again, and this concludes our masterclass. Do have a great evening. Bye.
Albert. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.